So yeah,
Yes.
last night we both watched The Father, starring
Yes,
Anthony
we
Hopkins
did.
and Olivia Colman,
So
and
Anthony.
Sir Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for this for Best Actor, and I think he got Best Adapted Screenplay as well. I think.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because it's based on a stage play, isn't it? I think right. Let's just sort of cut to the chase. We were quite what were we
Sniffy.
sniffy and
Yeah.
cynical about Sir Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
winning Best Actor at basically every award show,
Yeah.
and we were like, well, you know, it's a bit daft if we've not seen it. You know, how can you possibly say that? He's absolutely incredible in this film and just 100%
Phenomenal.
deserved
Deserves
that
it.
award.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just wowee.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
Riz, you did well,
yeah.
but
Soz
Christ.
Riz.
It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. The fact that at his age, what is it? Is he 80 odd? He must be
80
80
something,
in the
yeah.
80s. That to pull out a performance like that is just, I just found it such a joy and a pleasure to be watching him on screen, just pulling out this performance. It was just phenomenal. Everything about it was just perfect. So a bit of context. It's basically a film about it's so Olivia Colman plays Anne, and Anne's dad, Anthony. He's called Anthony. He's called
Yeah,
Anthony.
yes. Yeah.
Has dementia or Alzheimer's.
I think,
I forget how you categorize it.
Well, they deliberately don't say as well
Yeah.
what he's suffering from.
Yeah.
I think that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, and he portrays Anthony with I just cannot fault it, because it's heartbreaking, obviously, to see someone become more and more vulnerable throughout the film. But at the same time, there are moments where I laughed out loud at his performance as well, because there's some really sort of fun, genuinely sort of funny bits. But it's tender in parts as well. It's tear jerking, and the most amazing thing is, even though you're clearly watching Anthony Hopkins, I didn't feel like I was. It was entirely believable, like, as a character. You know what I mean? For someone that famous, who we've seen in that much stuff, it was just entirely believable. It just felt so sort of real. And Olivia Colman as well. She's just absolutely phenomenal. Right? She's wonderful in this. And you've got it's just acting at its best, I think, in this film.
No, it really is. But I think it's perfectly designed, isn't it, to get the best out of the actors.
Yeah. It's a very clever script. It's adapted from a French play, and you can tell it is play-like, but not in a way that's too distracting. It's so it felt right. But it's this very clever non-linear script, non-linear storyline, and it flits about. You're not quite sure where you are in the timeline. People change appearance at times. It changes location at times, and you're never quite sure where you are and who's who. And obviously, that's the point, because the whole film is centered around Anthony Hopkins' performance as Anthony, and you are, to the best of the film's ability, almost put in the perspective of him. I just didn't expect it, and I just had like my jaw open for so much of it, and I don't want to give it away, but hopefully you'll know the line I mean. There's a line towards the end where he's with his daughter in the bedroom, and he just says something to her. There's a bit, the other bit I mean, and like everyone in the screening that I was in, you just heard everyone go, "Oh my god!" Like it was just. Just a dagger of emotion. It was just phenomenal, and I just got an urge of like, I want, at the end of the performance. It's the first time this has happened in ages. I've been in cinemas where people have applauded at the end, and people didn't last night. But I just had this overwhelming urge. I wanted everyone to applaud at the end. I was just like, Jesus Christ, I've not seen anything like that in terms of a performance for quite some time. It's just something very, very special.
Yeah, definitely. It's so I wrote some notes. First of all, maybe we'll speak about the cast. You know, you've got obviously Sir Anthony Hopkins playing Anthony just wonderfully, but I'll talk about him in a second. Obviously, we spoke about Olivia Colman being wonderful as ever. Mark Gatiss, as we said, plays a few different characters, but like lovely. You've got Olivia Williams in there who pops. You know, we see her pop up every now and again and plays a few different things. Imogen Poots, which is really nice. I've not seen her in a film for a while, but also then you've got Rufus Sewell being a as he usually is in these films. Never forgive him for breaking Kate Winslet's heart in the Holiday. Rufus, you but he plays it so well, and you do as soon as you see him, you're just like, oh, you're gonna be nasty. But anyway, but kind of speaking about that, I think on the outset, it's a very cruel film, isn't it? You know, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it's very cruel because the whole film set up because it plays tricks on him. Do you know what I mean? And it's very enjoyable because for the performances and the sort of touching moments. But I felt very uncomfortable. I felt like I was intruding. I felt a little bit like I don't know. I felt not sorry for him. Of course, I felt sorry for him, but I felt that we were doing something wrong by watching this film. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so jumbled and the characters changing. It felt like that the filmmakers were playing tricks on him, and I thought, you know, you're just being very cruel there. And it was just a weird sort of psychological thing going on in my head. But it's just really interesting what they did. A really, really key thing for this film, and you can tell because it comes from a play. Obviously, it's set in. Realistically, it's set in one location, and if you think about the set and think about these long corridors, and they've all split with like a what would you call it, like a dado rail? Do you know what I mean? Like in the middle of the wall. Do you know what I mean by a dado rail?
Okay,
And it deliberately does that because it's all filmed in the same location. So even when they go to a hospital, it's still the flat. Do you know what I mean? And it's done to confuse him, and it's done to confuse us and make us, you know, disorientate us and things like that. But it's brilliant because it's all done to call back to him, and he's got flickering memories of each place. And there's a certain point where actually you're no longer in his flat, you're in his daughter's flat, but they don't explain it. All you see is just the kitchen change, and it's just very, very clever and very smart. And you can tell they did that on the stage when it was a play as well. Anthony Hopkins' performance is just breathtaking. It's very calculated and very delicate. Whether you kind of think it or not, you think he always just put, you know. In other hands, it could just be a caricature of an older gentleman. Do you know what I mean? Sure, but it's not. Sure. This is very well thought out. It's very fragile performance, and it's not this. And this is the beauty of the performance. It's not this kind of theatrical.
It's effortless.
When he walks,
isn't it?
it's effortless. But it's when he walks. I've got this thing about people's walks. I think if you get the walk right, you get the character right. He hasn't got this theatrical stride, which he has in a lot of other films. Even, you know, Hannibal has got this sort of stride, and Odin has got this stride. But Anthony in this, he shuffles around. Sure. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's very sort of like hunched, and he's very self-contained. And I think that's what makes him so fragile and so delicate. There's obviously lots of metaphors. There's, you know, tap that's dripping, but there's a good one was like the CD scratching. His CD of this opera that he listens to is scratched, so he takes it out and wipes it, and it starts again. And as soon as he does that, something's changed, or, you know, his daughter's changed, or a husband has changed, just to confuse him. And it's a lovely little metaphor for his, you know, his mindset. This scratched CD or scratched record, which is really, really nice. And there's that callback all the way through to the opera. His daughter's on the phone and she's put on hold, and it's the opera music. He's sat with his headphones in and he's listening to opera music as the film goes off. It's this kind of like diluted opera, which is really, really lovely. It's just breathtaking. Whether it's because I'm sleep deranged or watching it in the cinema, whatever. But it truly was incredible. And Anthony Hopkins is he'll go down. He's one of the finest actors working today, but he's one of the finest actors of all time. What an absolute performance! It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
And it makes it also it makes you. It's certainly made me think a great deal about an important topic that I haven't been affected by with anyone sort of I know closely, but it's the statistics. Just looking it up, 1 in 3 people born in the UK this year will develop dementia in their lifetime.
Oh my word!
There's about 850,000 people with dementia in the UK now. That'll increase to over 1 million by 2025 and over 2 million by 2050. Yet there are currently 4 cancer researchers for every 1 dementia researcher. So it's something that sort of does need bring into the forefront a bit, sort of, just to be discussed.
James Franco cures Alzheimer's in Planet of the Apes, or Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and look what happened.
Yeah,
look what happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Would you say, Greg, this film is GoldenEye or John Tucker Must Die, which is this really bad teen film?
GoldenEye, please.
Excellent. Where can we see this film, Greg?
It's out from next Friday in the cinemas, I believe.